In this chapter, it discussed the structure of primary U.S. labor legislations and the mechanisms of its enforcement. The chapter also touched on labor organizing and the collective bargaining agreement process, as well as strikes, boycotts, and picketing. It started off with talking about labor organizing. A definition for it is dissatisfied employees can contact a national union that represents employees engaged in similar types of work. Moving on to the collective bargaining agreement process, it involves mandatory subjects and permissive subjects. A few details regarding the mandatory subjects. It involves rates of pay and wages, hours of employment, and they are also subjects over which the parties must bargain. On the other hand, the permissive subjects are subjects that need not be bargained over, and what differ them from the mandatory subjects are management decisions concerning the commitment of capital and the basic scope of the enterprise. Moving further into the chapter, it talked about strikes. To define strikes, they are temporary concerted withdrawal of labor. There are two types of strikes, lawful strikes and unlawful strikes. Lawful strikes include economic and unfair labor practices. And then on the other hand, so for unlawful strikes, the different types you could have are sit-down strikes, partial strikes, wildcat strikes, jurisdictional strikes, and secondary strikes. Boycotts are a refusal to deal with, purchase goods from, or work for a business. Like I just said, these secondary strikes, there's something called a secondary boycott. These are illegal. Moving on into picketing, it's defined as stationing of individuals outside an employer's place of business to inform passerby of the fact of a labor dispute. There are two types of picketing. They are informational picketing and jurisdictional picketing. Much like strikes, there's also a jurisdictional version. To relate this back to class, I used the strikes, boycotts, and picketing part of the chapter to relate it back because I feel like we see this more frequently in society than we do anything else. And an example I used is from back in 2019 when the General Motors workers went on strike until a new labor deal was made. So that's my example in my video. Thank you.